Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. As you can see, today we are taking a look at the last of these smaller Destruct-a-saur figures. I have mentioned previously many times that there have been a Dimetrodon and Stygimoloch, or at least that there was supposed to be, but unfortunately they haven't really shown up anywhere, and nobody quite knows where to find them. But we do have this very, very cool looking Velociraptor. I honestly really love this paint scheme. And again, we get another Microceratus in this set. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the box. The back here just kind of shows the raptor itself pulling off the cage and trying to eat the Microceratus who is taking off. Again, giving you an idea of the actual action feature. And then down here in the corner, you see the Dilophosaurus and the Pteranodon. Now, I will say one thing that kind of leads me to have some hope, sort of, for the potential future of the Dimetrodon and Stygimoloch Destruct-a-saur sets, and that is the fact that down here in the corner you only see the other ones that were released already, which leads me to hope and pray that maybe the Dimetrodon and Stygimoloch are still coming and they're just part of a different wave, because normally if they were already out you would probably see them all down here in the corner, but because you don't, there is a chance maybe that they're just part of a later wave that hasn't quite hit stores yet and hopefully will soon, because I really want to get a hold of that Dimetrodon. I think it looks super awesome. And this Stygimoloch, I honestly can't even remember if there was any difference with that one compared to any of the previous ones, but again, if it's Jurassic World, I'm in, so hopefully they do come out at some point. But for now, let's take a look at this awesome looking Velociraptor and get it out of the package. So we got the Velociraptor out, and as you can see, the Microceratus is as well, and actually could quite easily escape if he wanted to now that the top is off of the cage. And I guess there's actually a rubber band still on this, so let's take that off. But again, just like the previous sets, it's all pretty much the same type of gimmick, and we actually have received the Microceratus in the last Pteranodon set. So really, we're only too interested in this set for the Velociraptor, as that's only the really new thing. But one thing I can say right off the bat about this raptor is it kind of has warped legs. You can see that rear leg there on the left side of your screen currently is kind of warped. It's bent and actually makes it pretty hard to stand. In fact, he falls over quite often. There we go. I got him to stand right now, but he does not balance very well at all. But regardless, let's take a closer look. So this raptor is basically the same raptor that we got as far as battle damage blue, but minus the battle damage obviously, so this is the non-battle damage blue. But I really like this sculpt of the raptor. I think that this is a very beautiful sculpt, one of the best that we've ever gotten from any of the Jurassic lines, and probably my favorite sculpt as far as these figures go from the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom line for sure. So that right away is a huge plus for me. I have reviewed this figure before, so we won't really look too much into the actual sculpt, but believe me when I tell you that I really, really love the sculpt of this figure. But as far as new additions to the figure go, you can see that again we have an articulated jaw, which the other ones did have, which actually can open really wide. But we have a magnet up here on the inside of the mouth, so we can pull off that Destruct-a-saur feature. The inside of the mouth is a very nice pink color with a beautiful gloss, and of course we have the teeth painted, and they look really quite nice actually. The eyes are really nicely painted, shockingly. And I keep saying this shockingly, but that's because I'm getting so used to getting Mattel figures that have really badly painted eyes that it's more of a shock now when I get one that has nice painted eyes than when I get one that doesn't. One thing that's kind of been something that, for some reason, Mattel really likes to do with these Destruct-a-saur figures, and that is add some sort of weird metallic paint on them, and I don't understand what the idea is behind it. But again, it continues with this Velociraptor as we have like a metallic gold kind of on the head here, but it kind of actually looks cool, and I really love the fact that there is just so much paint here applied to the head. And the gold here changes to this dark yellow, kind of like almost an olive color as you run down the body, and it basically goes out the whole length of the body, even out onto the tail and almost the entire tail, which I think makes this raptor look just so much cooler than most of the previous raptors, because they have included so much paint on it compared to the previous releases, and it just really, really looks cool. The overall pattern and coloration of this is just super striking to me, and I think it looks fantastic with the way they've painted it. And the underside actually has some paint as well. You can see that there is this dull, like olive type color here on the underside as well, and they have included paint on the nails, not on the hands, but they have included paint on the nails of the feet, and they have a beautiful gloss, making them look very real and genuine, and I really love that as well. There are also kind of some speckles of paint you can see throughout the legs, and I think it's on the arms too. Not so much really, it's mostly on just the legs, but you can see some speckled paint here and there on the legs as well. Again, just giving it some variation of color. But overall, the Velociraptor itself is really, really beautiful, and probably one of my favorite raptors that we've actually gotten from this line. And again, the body itself is basically just a bluish color, and also looks really, really nice. As far as the Microceratus goes, we have looked at this guy before. There's no need to really look at him again. If you want to see a more detailed look at the Microceratus, check out my Pteranodon review, which I will have a link in the description for you to watch that review, as well as I took a better look at the Microceratus in that one. Again, it's a beautiful, beautiful figure, but there is nothing new as far as this one goes compared to the last one. And if you are interested, there is the Jurassic Facts app code for this Velociraptor if you would like to add it to your collection. As far as articulation on this raptor goes, I did say that the jaw is articulated, and it's actually kind of stiff, honestly. One thing I find that's a little strange about this, though, is you've obviously got the ability to move the head up and down, but I thought on the previous releases the head was kind of swiveled, but that's not the case on this one. I could just be mistaken and maybe they weren't on a swivel, but I thought they were. However, this one is definitely not on a swivel. It can only go up and down, and if it is on a swivel, then mine is completely stuck and will not move. And then of course you've got articulation in the arms, and then the legs as well. You've also got articulation in the tail, which is on a swivel, and the tail is somewhat flexible as well, and the arms are also very rubbery, so they can also move quite a bit. The Microceratus itself, oh look at him standing like a champ now. The Microceratus is also super flexible because it's that rubbery material, but there is no articulation, just very, very bendable. And as far as the action feature goes with the Destruct-a-saur gimmick, again, you've got to open the mouth, aim it to the top of the cage here, and he pulls it off, throws it down, and kills the poor little Microceratus, if that's what you would like to do with it. But honestly, it works really well, just like all the other ones have. This magnet gimmick in the top of the mouth is honestly genius in my opinion, and I really think it just is super cool to have that feature with these dinosaur figures. It's something that I think that kids will absolutely eat up and love if they can get their hands on these sets. And giving you actually an idea of the cage itself, since I hadn't really shown you guys these before, you can see there is the Jurassic World logo up there on the top. You've got some scratches and stuff all over the cage itself, just kind of giving it the appearance as though it's a little beat up from dinosaurs previously. And the cage itself really is quite nice. Definitely very, very cool. And pretty well made as well. It's very sturdy, very stable, and I definitely dig it quite a bit. As far as a size goes on our raptor, from the tail to the head you're looking at about 8 inches or about 20 centimeters, and for a height, a little under 4 inches or about 3 3/4 or about 9.5 centimeters. And the Microceratus, you're looking at about 3 inches or about 8 centimeters, and for a height, about 1.25 inches, somewhere in that area, or a little bit over 3 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is the Rex, and you can see that this Velociraptor is nowhere near to scale with the Rex. But again, giving you a pretty good idea of the size is our Rex here, as most people do have this figure, so there's a pretty good chance that you'll be able to compare it to this Velociraptor. It's the same size again as Battle Damage Blue. It's actually the same figure, just minus the battle damage and a completely new paint scheme and new gimmick. And for another size comparison, there are all of these sets all together. They look super awesome together, and I really like them all. Now I actually have 2 of these Microceratus, as the Raptor and the Pteranodon both come with one, so there's a chance I may repaint one at some point, or at least attempt to. But honestly, they are all really, really cool figures. This Velociraptor itself, I think, is just an absolutely beautiful looking Velociraptor as far as the paint scheme. Very kind of flashy and ridiculous, not realistic at all in my opinion, but at the same time it just looks super cool because of the way the paint is applied, and that again metallic coloration that it's got on the head is shockingly really nice looking on this figure. I'm not really sure how they pulled it off because I wasn't a big fan of it on the Pteranodon, but on this Velociraptor I really quite like it. So overall the paint on this figure is beautiful, the articulation is very nice, and the gimmick itself with all of these Destruct-a-saurs is also awesome. I'm a big fan of that as well. And if you find this figure, you also get a Microceratus, which, as I said in my Pteranodon review, that it's one of the best Jurassic World figures in my opinion, just because of how beautiful it really is. That's, again, just my opinion, so don't take that as fact, but I honestly think it's one of the best figures that they have produced. So all of these Destruct-a-saur sets are fantastic, but specifically this Velociraptor is probably my favorite out of all of them that I've reviewed so far. So if you do want any of these sets, again, as I said, you're probably going to have to find it on eBay because eBay seems to be the only place that you can get them in. Canada does have them at Toys R Us, so if you're from Canada, go ahead there. If you're from Mexico, I'm not sure quite what store they sell them, but you do definitely have them. I'm not positive what other countries do in fact have them, but if you don't, again, eBay is probably going to be your best friend as far as finding these, and you're going to have to pay a little bit more than retail, or maybe a lot more than retail. I'm not really quite sure. Either way, hopefully if you do want them, you get a hold of them because they are quite awesome. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.